Welcome back to the Malabash Media Show, everybody. We have with us a really exciting guest today, Shannon Rose Kelly. She is a video editor and sound designer as well. She's got some really exciting work that she's been working on, and it's really nice to have that side of film production here. We've had a bunch of different guests, and so it's really great to see that side of the story. So, Shannon, thank you so much for being with us today and taking time out of your busy day to be on our show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Super excited.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. And you're local too, so that's always really exciting. I love meeting like the local talent and everything. And you guys can find Shannon. She's got her website. It's Shannon Rose Kelly Films. I'll pop it up here for you guys. And you can check out some of her work. She's got a really great portfolio of a lot of different things that she's edited. So we're going to hear a little bit of behind the scenes on that, and we'll jump in here really soon. And we'll also get to see a little bit of what she's actually done, hopefully if it loads, right?
Mhm.
So, Shannon, tell me a little bit of what got you interested in the media world. Editing. It's not something that, you know, we grow up knowing about being an actor or being a producer, but editor is something that's not as well it's not as well thought out or not as well known, I guess. So what made you interested in that field?
Yeah, I actually started taking video editing classes when I was in high school. I didn't know what they were. I started off with Adobe classes like Premiere and Photoshop. And then I was in theater class because I was super into theater. And kids were talking about going to uh, University of North Carolina School of the Arts for filmmaking. And I was like, that's a thing, school for filmmaking.
Yeah.
So when I graduated high school, I took a year off and I applied and I toured the campus and I was like, this is where I want to be. Um, so I found UNC School of the Arts, and when a lot of people start going to film school, they want to be a director.
Mhm.
I was one of those kids, and but the cool thing about School of the Arts is they get you involved in all the departments. So I took producing classes, directing, editing, and I don't know. Throughout the first couple years of school, I realized how much I like editing and how comfortable I was and how like clever and smart and technical it was. So I guess I don't know. That's how I fell into editing, and I've loved it ever since.
That's awesome. And with editing too, I mean, you get to also be a little bit of a director in a way where you get to go and be on set and you see the continuity between scenes and everything. You want to make sure that it's all gonna work well because you can see the end picture. A lot, like you had to keep the visionaries in check, and so you need all those perspectives. And that's really, something that is highly needed in a film to make it completely, seamless as it goes from clip to clip to clip. Otherwise, it can be kind of, an interesting mess to work with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It definitely takes like a different type of eye, I guess. Cinematographers have that eye with the camera or sometimes with lighting. Um, and directors have the eye with movement and the actors. And with um, editors, it's just like, I don't know, like you see things like and how they can cut together and you find the rhythm and the beats in between each shot. And like I don't know, it's pretty unique. I didn't know like it was a thing until you like started taking classes for it, so it was fun.
That's really exciting. What do you like about working in that environment the most? I mean, you mentioned a little bit the techie side of it, and you have that eye, obviously. I mean, you're pretty natural at it. I've seen a lot of her work, and we're gonna show that here soon. But there's some people, there's some editors that seem to get it really well and some that don't, and or struggle a little bit or need to learn a little bit more, and you seem more of a natural. So what is it something like what about this environment really excites you the most?
Yeah, I love the collaboration between different departments. So me and a director, or me and a producer, or me and the sound designer. If I was picture editing, but I also love the individualism. Like I'm just kind of like working on it by myself for a couple hours. If I need somebody to look at it, then I can just pull anybody in. Um, and I also love kind of going back to having that editor's eye. I love, I guess, being the expert in the room. Um, Sometimes, like this happened on something I worked on. It was a piece called Sugar Daddy. Um, it was one of the first films that I was editing with a group. So the director and the producer came back from a day of shooting, and we were about to watch dailies, and they were like, "Oh, this didn't work, and we shot it like 7 times. I don't know if it's gonna work." And I watched it, and I was like, "Guys, no, it's perfect. I can make that work. Don't worry about it." And they're like, "Are you sure? Like, do we need to reshoot it?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, it's okay." So it's kind of nice too, because when people come back from a day's set, then I'm the fresh eyes. Like, I don't have to worry about any of the drama or the mishaps that happened on set. I just get to see it for how it is.
Yeah, that's a really good point because those days of filming are long, and
Yeah,
so after you're done, you're just like, "Man, I don't know anymore."
yeah, exactly.
It's like, I need some fresh eyes. That's really true, having that fresh eye to look at it, and then you can kind of just get away and look at it from an objective kind of perspective in a way because sometimes the script writers and the producers their hearts are so in it it's hard you need to pull away from that and kind of have an objective viewpoint on it and
Mhm.
to be able to see it from how others are going to probably see it and like you said just being alone and quiet so that you can focus on it. I totally understand that. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a nice little way to see a film come together and just, be a huge part of it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really awesome.
definitely.
What's one of your favorite projects that you have worked on?
Oh, man, there's so I feel like I have a couple different projects that are my favorites for different reasons. Um, One of my favorites, which is actually one that we talked about showing, was Kill the Cat. Um, that project was I was with that project from pre-production to production and post. Um, but trying to figure out a lot of the logistics about what we are going to shoot, how we're going to cheat it with the camera, how it's going to look like, how it's going to turn out in post. That was super interesting. There are a lot of practical effects in there, and trying to work all that out was a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, and then I have a couple others. Like The Old Man was the biggest project I worked on. That would always have kind of like a special space in my heart. And then another one was Tiger and Blanket, which was an animation with 3 different animation styles in it. So with each style, I was the sound designer for that, not the picture editor, but I created a different style of sound for each animation. So that was super interesting as well.
That's really cool, and for those who are not as familiar, what's the difference between like, what is sound designing? What does that look like?
Yeah. So a picture editor is in charge of obviously taking the cuts, but also taking all the sounds and the score, and the visual effects and making it a nice like what you see
Mhm.
in the theater. A sound designer, they'll have a team and they're in charge of creating the background effects, the like the sound effects, the editing the dialogue, and adding in the score. And they mix it so you can hear everything and you can hear all the dialogue. Um, and and they'll create like one nice piece and deliver that to the picture editor.
That's awesome. Very
Yeah.
that's really, really cool, and there's so many pieces I don't think people know that go on in post-production, and especially if you have special effects or visual effects or special effects goes into, the sound and the video, and, there's so many pieces and so many people are working on so many different parts of a film, and then you have to have somebody pull it together, otherwise it could be really disjointed. It'll be like a scrapbook of, all this stuff. So, it's really cool to have that one person or that team who works together to create that final image. So that's really cool that you have that whole experience of, both of those. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Do you
Yeah.
enjoy the sounds or video? What's your favorite?
Yeah, I think I enjoy well, I do enjoy picture editing more. Although sound editing is fun, it's just a different type of
Yeah.
editing. It requires like a different part of your brain, I think. So every once in a while that's fun, but I think I really enjoy picture editing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound is completely different. I remember sitting in sound stages and things that you don't think you would hear, they can pick up
Yeah.
and you have to, like, go through and listen through a fine tooth comb, whatever, that's not technical terminology, but
Yeah. Yeah, I
it's
remember oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna, say I remember sitting in sound class and, like, we'll be listening to something, and our professor would stop and be like, "Do you hear that?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Listen." And we're like, "We still don't hear it." And he's like, zooms in super close to the, sound waves, and he finds, like, a peak, and it's popping, and he can hear it. We're like, "What?" And he's like, "You have to train your ears." It's crazy. Their ears are
Crazy.
so, like, to the point.
Yeah, even to, like, a gulp, you can hear somebody swallowing in the background. You go in, you're just like, "What is that
Yeah.
sound?" And it's really interesting because you can hear things that you wouldn't think about somebody breathing or just, like, swallowing. It's really crazy to, realize that you have to watch out for those things as well.
Oh, yeah,
So, yeah, all the little things that nobody knows about, right? All the fun stuff. You
yeah,
get to have the inside scoop.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and play a little bit of the Kill the Cat, which is really exciting. You guys will want to watch the rest of this because it's gonna leave you on a cliffhanger. But we're gonna go ahead and play that, and then we'll dive a little bit more into some background of Shannon here right afterwards.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. See you on Monday.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Love you too. Don't forget to write.
Haley. Haley. Mom and Dad just left for their grown-up business weekend.
I know, Claire. What do you want?
You said you'd drive me to the carnival.
The what? When did I?
You promised
Well,
Mom.
Mom's not here.
But she said I could call her if you were mean to me, so.
All right, fine. Put on your shoes, you brat.
Yay! I love you.
Gotta get a better sign. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but it looks like the circus has left town.
No, it's supposed to be here today, see?
Today only. Curious oddities and amazing sights next to the cemetery. Claire, where did you...
Come on, scaredy cat.
Oh, Hey!
Come on.
Okay. I'm leaving you. Ugh.
That's so cool. I like the part where she's like, "I need a better sign."
Yeah.
That's so awesome. You guys, you can watch the rest of that on Shannon Kelly's website. So definitely check it out because it's a really cute film, and she's also got the rest of her films and projects that she has worked on there as well. So yeah, I would definitely highly check that out. And we're gonna go ahead and open it up to whatever. What would you like to share, Shannon, to anybody who's interested in getting into this field? It's something that's different. It's not necessarily as well known, and I love the fact that women are getting into the media field more. So what would you share to those that are looking up to you for role model? Any advice, things that you've learned, didn't know about, or would want to just give some extra tips?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, trust your gut. I think that's something I've ever since I was in high school, I've started to like figure out what I wanted, and even though it wasn't conventional, like taking a year off school, or yeah, off school and then going to an art school, like it's kind of crazy, but I think it's yeah, definitely trust your gut. You never know where it's gonna lead you. It's always led me to somewhere I never thought I would be, but it's always was a great choice for me. And I think it's also, especially in filmmaking, I think it's super important to uh, have a positive attitude and just be a good person. Um, I like that's advice I was given while I was at school, and since then it's proven right. um, I think that like you can have an amazing resume, but if you don't have a good attitude, or if you aren't nice to people, then you're not going to get very far at all.
That couldn't be any truer, because you never know who you're gonna be working with that may end up being in charge of you later on. The film industry is such a high turnover rate, or it's just a high, like, there's so many people are moving from gig to gig to gig, so what person might be an AD in one could possibly be the producer of another, or could be, the gateway into getting into some sort of distribution center or something like that. So
Mhm.
you just never know. I mean, you can run into all kinds of people in the film industry, and yeah, you have to be really careful, and watch your back, but you also have to be really nice too, and just like be very professional, because you just never know who's going to be the next gate to what you need to get into, and would be a great resource for you. So no, I think that's fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, the film industry is like it's already super stressful. Like the deadlines are super tight. Everyone's like just always on each other trying to get stuff done and make sure it's done right. And of course, there's a lot of money involved. So I just like a good attitude always helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there, I know this is not probably a really great, like, you can't structure this, but how long does it take you to do a project? I know it depends on the project and the size, but like how many minutes or how many hours, does it take you to do 1 hour of editing, like 1 hour of film, or kind of thing, or 15 minutes or whatever kind of
Wow.
estimate?
Yeah, yeah. So I think, oh wow, if well, like so Kill the Cat, that's like 12 minutes. And so from the time I got all the footage to the time it I was doing the final export, um, for it to be like shown in a theater, it was probably like 3.5 months. And so that's like going through like four different cuts, sending it to get the sound design done, and also the coloring, and also the visual effects, and then time to have it all sent back to me so I can wrap it all up. So it definitely takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, you get the starting part of it, and then you also get to finish it, like, because you have to rely on the rest of the team, and when are they gonna get their projects done too, and hopefully they're, pulling up their end of the deal and all that good stuff. What type of equipment do you use, or do you like to use?
Yeah, in school, so I started off with learning with Premiere. Premiere's super easy to get. Anybody can have it.
Mhm.
Um, it's affordable. So that's what I started off with, and that's actually what I use now. In school, we also used Avid, which is the supposed to be the industry standard. It's kind of complex, and it is super expensive. So of course the big studios are gonna have it. Um, but I would say Premiere's like definitely a more reliable, user friendly interface.
I'm glad you say user friendly. It's sometimes Adobe products, they're not my best friend.
Yeah, okay, they are complicated, especially After Effects. That is like
Yes.
if you're going in between Premiere and After Effects, how they operate is completely different.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I use Lightroom and a couple other ones, and that's my extent of,
Yeah,
special effects, or using the Adobe, I should say. So that's fantastic. I always think anybody who can work Adobe is, hats off to them. That's pretty amazing.
yeah.
What's your next like, what is your future goal? What would you really like to get into? I mean, there's so many options out there. What is your niche that you would like to try, working towards?
Yeah, I think right now I'm super interested in working in unscripted. I've worked on a couple projects where I was the assistant editor for a short documentary, and one where I just edited like some interview footage. So I'm super interested in kind of exploring that. I'm not exactly sure what kind of topics I want to cover or see exactly kind of like where I want to go, but I think that would be a cool place to go. Sorry, that was a weird
Yeah.
sentence.
No, I mean, that's, there's so many different avenues out there and you can, pretty much pick and choose, there's so many options, right? And sometimes it just depends on where the jobs are, but if you can start working towards a certain goal and having that experience and everything, that's always great and helpful. So,
Wow.
super awesome. Well, thanks so much, Shannon, for everything. And I appreciate your time. I know you've been super busy and everything, but it's been really great. And I'm so glad that we were able to have you on our show. And is there anything, last things that you'd like to say before we end for today?
No, just thank you so much for having me. It was super fun. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so great to get to know you and to have a local person on our show and somebody who's I just think you're just a real natural at editing.
Aw,
And
thank
I've
you.
seen some things, so I think we've all seen those. So we're not gonna, judge anybody. Everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. But yeah. So for the rest of you guys, if you guys want to see more of our shows, you can go follow us on our social media. We will also be replaying this if you didn't get a chance to see all of it. You'll get to see the rest of the replay on our YouTube, Facebook, and website. And then check out Shannon's website and keep her in mind because she is a great natural and just really talented. And yeah, we'll definitely take care of you guys and do a really great job. Her website is right here. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you back here next time on the Malbash Media Show.